What's going on, guitar people of the internet? Now, I don't usually make videos like this. I try and stick to music, but I'm packing up right now to go do a 3.5-week tour, and I thought it might be interesting, kind of an unsponsored way, because I don't know, this is going to be a pretty low budget video, but just to show you what I'm bringing along with me to be prepared and ready for whatever eventuality that may occur. So here's the pedal board. It's a Tour Supply pedal board designed to fit in a Pelican 1510. Nice small case, carry-on size, has wheels, which is huge, so if you're rolling around places, you don't gotta carry this heavy thing. And basically how it goes is this is a no amp gig, so I have to be able to run direct. I've got a wireless, and yep, cables sound better, they always do, but I gotta be able to run around on this gig, and there's a lot of movement on stage, so cables are a tripping hazard and rather inconvenient, so wireless, get a good one. And then from there, we go into this drive pedal, this Barber LTD, that's just kind of my all-purpose drive pedal. And then we go into the HX Stomp for more effects and things, and amp simulation. We use the effects loop of the HX Stomp to go to this delay pedal and the volume pedal, or volume pedal and then delay pedal. So we can do some swells and have it not affect the gain staging. Delay pedal is also hooked up via MIDI to the HX Stomp, so we can get a different preset per patch. We can turn on and off the delay per snapshot and change the subdivision, and all that's pre-programmed in here. And then we go back out through my little interface box. We can do it at line level, so we don't need to use a DI box, or we can go at instrument level if we want to plug it into a DI box, but I just do a TRS to XLR cable because this is capable of sending line level. Now, these other two foot switches, this one just scrolls up and down presets, the set list order is there, and I just gotta hit next, 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 or if I mess up and go back. This is a foot switch for the delay pedal. That'll change presets as well, but that's more if I'm not using a set list function here. Let me get some grime on there. Like a set list kind of function there. This pedal is also a master tap tempo for both of these. For this particular show, I'm not going to use that, so I'm just going to unplug the MIDI in. But this pedal board also serves as a pedal board I use with my amp. So this foot switch gets swapped out for the amp foot switch, and then if you look down here, we've got this junction box. So when I plug into an amp, I can use a snake for foot switch, amp in, effects loop send, effects loop return. And then finally, you see this little cable here, because sometimes I have to run stereo with the direct rig, so I can just plug those two patches in, and then I'd go, just make use of the other output here. All right, now, so that's just like pedal board. Oh yeah, and then there's some picks and stuff. Picks and tools and headphone adapters and little things you might need in the Altoids tin. It looks nice too. All right, so now we get into like stuff beyond your instruments. So I like to be quite prepared, and I'm kind of a handy guy, so this is maybe way more than most people might bring, but I don't know, I want to be ready to fix shit, so here we go. All right, so here's the Pelican case. Open this up, I got some foam there just to pad the interior a little bit. Cables, we got a bunch of 1/4 inches, varying lengths, you never know. Just good to have, even though I'm using wireless on this gig, just like having 2 or 3, I've got a 10 foot and a couple 18 foots with angles and straights ready to go. I'm planning on leaving one of the 18 foots plugged into the second input of the wireless, so that way if for some fucking reason the wireless goes down, there's a function on it where I can tap the foot switch and it'll A/B and go right to the cabled thing, so I can just unplug the wireless, pick up the cable, be ready to go. The show goes on. Over here I got like power for the pedal board, my TRS to XLR, and then an XLR extension, just in case I need that, because sometimes it's been tough to reach the stage box. I've got a spare 1 spot, just in case. I don't need it, but if for some reason, some other pedal, I don't know, why not? It fits in there. A little stupid guitar stand, that's more for smaller gigs, but it's just another good little thing to have. And also all of this crap kind of like keeps the fit really tight. All right, now we get into the fun stuff. This is just some little motorcycle bag I bought years ago, and this is where we have essential items. And this, I try and keep everything pretty organized, so this is all stuff related to audio and pedal board, not necessarily guitar things. There's some guitar things in here, but in order to keep the weight of each case down, I like to keep the stuff that goes with it. Okay, moving on. I got a little wrench there. I don't know, you can tighten nuts and stuff with it. I need it to get the whammy bar off my guitar because I've got an old school Floyd Rose. I've got a 1/4 inch female to female, so like for some reason, if you need a really long 1/4 inch run, we can stick 2 cables together. So not many people have like a 100-foot 1/4 inch usually. Zip ties of varying sizes, and a lot of them. Just good to have for securing anything, securing cabling on my pedal board, something in a rack, or a playback rig or something. I don't know, just good to have. Pens and pencils. I don't know, you might need to write something. Soldering iron, big one. Nothing worse than having something in your guitar break and I don't know, you can't find a music store, you don't want to pay someone to fix it, you're rolling into town after everything's closed. You know, usually you got load-in the afternoon, and then, you know, you're free by 4 or 5 o'clock. Maybe the music store's on the other side of town. There's no way they're gonna fix that. I used to work in a place that was right next to venues, and we saved a bunch of people's asses by being open until 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and me being able to use a soldering iron, or someone else there at work being able to use a soldering iron. And I just want to avoid that because that was the best music store ever, and not everywhere is like that, and right down the street from any venue. Shout out Mr. Music in Boston. You guys fucking rule. So yeah, soldering iron. I've fixed the cable in a dressing room before, you know, sometimes stuff on your guitar breaks, just have it. Good stuff. And then in these pockets, let's see what's in this one. Patch cables. Good for anything on the pedal board, or, I don't know, anywhere you need a short little audio cable. They fit in there. Got some extra 3M dual lock, because that is for securing stuff to the pedal board or securing any other strange little thing, you know, who knows. And then in the other pocket over here, I've got other various things. These are power cables for the Chalk's power supply on my board. I've got this surgical tubing. This stuff's good for like putting under knobs and making sure things don't move. Stupid nifty little gadget of converting an extension cord into an IEC cable. That's more for like club gigs and stuff, but like, hey, you never know, good to have. This thing I've been meaning to put in my bag for a while. That's just a Bluetooth audio transformer. So if you get a van that doesn't have an aux in or Bluetooth, you can just stick that in there. Used to be in my car. I don't know. Once again, cables sound better, but sometimes convenience is key. All right, let's move on to the stuff in the guitar case. All right, things in the guitar case. Now, there's a couple other little things we'll get to in a second that are loose in the small pocket, but these are the big things that are kind of loose in the big pocket. I've got extra 1/4 inch cable, another little 10-footer. I just like to have a cable in my guitar case in case I leave the house with just the case. It's just good to have a little cable in there, you never know. Extra guitar strap. This one is, I've almost literally never needed this, and it just lives in the bottom of my bag, but I'd rather have one extra black strap in there. Strings. I like the Ernie balls. I've got 8s and 9s. I mostly use 8s. Try them out. They fucking rule. They're easy to play. They sound good. It'll lighten up your technique, and you can play for longer, and you don't get all stressed out. Big fan of the 8s. They sound like rock and roll. And then I've got 2 bags. This is a recent addition because of a recent run-in with the TSA, where I guess some airports, or all airports, or most airports, I don't know, we'll find out, have these new scanners that won't fit a guitar case through them. So I had the recent unfortunate experience to have to take every loose item out of my bag and put it into a TSA bin. And so this time I'm going to be prepared, and I've got things as consolidated as possible, but this one has tools in it, and this one has all the things I need for my wireless, just because I'd rather keep the transmitter with the guitar. All right, so in the tools one, once again, trying to stay organized, pack light, have the things I need, and think about, there's some things that you're gonna be able to buy if you really need it, but I don't know, for me, I like to have a hairbrush in there. I got long hair. You gotta look good, String winder cutter. It's like a D'Addario Planet Waves one. They don't make this one anymore. It's the best fucking string winder cutter out there. They replaced it with a much crappier version where this thing falls open, but this is tight, it's small, it works, it's got the winder and the cutter on it. If I find them, I will buy them, or I will take them, because the new one sucks, and that one rules. All right, moving on. Various Allen wrenches for truss rods, and once again, I mentioned I'm a Floyd Rose guy. I know, it's stupid, it's just what I do. Don't at me, I like it. Yeah, so like truss rods for various necks that I own, Telecaster saddle things. Those little Allen wrenches are good for other little Floyd Rose stuff, or even like little things on pedals. I've got these barefoot buttons on some of my pedal boards to make it easier to press, so like the little set screw in there is a tiny Allen wrench. I also keep a couple in here that are like related to pedal board related things. But Allen wrenches for various guitar things. Capo, you never know. Little multi-tool, more Allen wrenches and screwdrivers and stuff. I tend to hate these. They're really hard to use. I'd much rather have real screwdrivers, but once again, you're already out on the road, you're in a pinch, that's gonna work, it's fine, just don't be an idiot and strip stuff, be careful. This little thing, I think this came from when I worked in a music store. The keyboard stands or keyboards would come with this little wrench, and I used to have a nut driver in my case, but I did a gig in Mexico once, and Mexican TSA is way more on it than the American TSA, and they took all my screwdrivers because they thought they were weapons. So I settled on this tool because this is very unthreatening and very useful, great for output jacks and potentiometers. Speaking of potentiometers, I carry spare potentiometers with me. I'm left-handed, and if you want your left-handed guitar to work correctly, you gotta have left-handed pots, which most music stores don't sell. Other than Mr. Music, shout out, they have everything. If you're ever in Boston, hit them up, they're great. And I have had going back to the pots, I've had a terrible experience of having pots die on me on a gig, like just from overuse. The carbon wears up, and then you lose sound or the tone gets bad, so like I just decided never again. So I have those, and the lock washers and regular washers aren't bad to have. Maybe it gets loose and a guitar loses one, so you got to spare for that. And here I've got guitar picks, extra tremolo spring. I've got some esoteric Floyd Rose parts that just applies to me. I've got 2 pre-cut nuts because once again I'm left-handed and paranoid, and if somehow my headstock snaps and I gotta buy a new neck, that way I can take whatever neck is comfortable. If I find some guitar with a neck I like, even if it's right-handed, I can put a left-handed nut on it. But that's just me. That's kind of crazy. But be better to be prepared. Moving on to the wireless bag. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the transmitter, the cable, charging cable, and then I just keep that cloth in there because that was somewhere else in my bag and it was loose and kind of annoying, and I feel better patting that thing with that in there. But that one's pretty simple, self-explanatory. Now moving on to various other things that are loose in the gig bag. These are loose because there's things that I have to grab often and I don't want to have to dig through another bag. So in-ears, very important on a gig where you won't have an amp, and pretty much everywhere these days, whether you like it or not. So yeah, I've got like a dongle in there if I want to plug into my phone. I've got some spare tips, that kind of stuff. And then cell phone charger, naturally spare set of in-ears, very important just in case. A slide, I like to play slide a lot, so I want that loose in my bag for whatever purpose. Nice bag of crystals from my girlfriend because she's the best. And I think that's about it. And then just for clarity's sake, the bag is a mono I think it's an M80 Vertigo. I know, probably have a hard shell, but I like to carry my guitar on the plane. So the gig bag is easier, just because I'd rather carry it on than check it in a hard shell. It just makes me feel better. By the way, they always fit in the overhead. If they tell you they don't fit in the overhead, they're lying. Just be very nice, be as courteous as possible. As long as you're not a problem, usually they let you carry it on. But yeah, good bag, works really well. And then just because I feel like I should, you know, here's the guitar. My homemade Super Strat of many years. Just, I trust it, I like it, I'm comfy with it, does all the things I need to do. So that's what I'm bringing out with me, that's it. So I'm just traveling with that and my clothes, and that, for me, covers all the bases of playing the rock and roll guitar. Hopefully that's helpful to some of y'all. I feel like there's a lot of videos like this out there that are sort of sponsored and they feel like they're trying to sell you something. And I think I used to feel like, you know, if you don't buy these things, this is what, you know, you'll never be able to do the job. But you can do the job with anything. You know, this works great. You know, sometimes a lot of people would probably be like, oh, why don't you just have a Kemper or a Quad Cortex or whatever. I mean, yeah, that'd be great, but those things are expensive, and this works, and I can figure out how to build it myself, and I know how to maintain it, and I can get all the sounds I need to get out of it. And so until that becomes unacceptable, that's what we're rolling with. So, you know, just make sure that you're thinking more about the music than the gear, you know? And on this gig, this is the right gear. This is what needs to happen. I'm gonna be able to get there with it, and I'm gonna be able to deliver consistent, good sounds that fit with the music every night. So there we go. Hopefully, someone out there finds that interesting or helpful. And then one other last thing I'm gonna bring with me as well. I kind of forgot this because I haven't decided yet. Just having another little tuner in whichever place in the case it fits. So either this Peterson, I'll put a battery in it since it's usually on my pedal board in place of the wireless, or this stupid little jank little rig I've kind of jerry-rigged with this tuner, this little poly tune attached to a pedal train Volto, because that one won't take batteries, and you know, just nice to have. Or, you know, hey, maybe that's what that random extra one spot in the Pelican case is for, is to power that guy. But we'll see. Haven't decided yet. But one of those is probably coming with as well.